Well, good morning, guys. This is Thorzax, and it's Friday morning. And what I got going on right now is I'm getting ready to go ahead and use some 4064, and I'm going to go ahead and use it in the Hornady powder dispenser. And I'm going to go ahead and make some rounds. I've already been kind of working this morning, as you can see. I got about 20 rounds here already. Yeah, 20 rounds. We're going to go ahead and move forward with getting some more range ammunition for the Remington, and going out and shooting it more. I want to work it back and forth, in the stock, and that's exactly what's going on with that rifle. If you notice something, my point of impact, every time I went ahead and I took the action screws loose, I'd go ahead and put them back in there, and then retorque them, and then my zero would change. But I'd fire a series of shots, and it would settle down to one spot, and then all I had to do was just move, the crosshair over to where I wanted the bullet to go, and then they would cluster in there, and that's what we want. But I'm not quite done doing that yet, so I want to go ahead and load up another 50 rounds of the 147s. Take it out there and shoot it some more. I don't know if you guys really analyzed the target that I went and fired. I shot that eight shot group through the same hole. It was just a ragged hole there that covered probably about a half an inch. If you look at the group right below it where I had that vertical stringing, I fired one shot and it went off to the right. And then I went and loaded another one, shot again. And then that one hit maybe an inch or two away from it. Not even that. Then I went ahead and fired another one. And it hit right next to that. And then hit right next to that. And then hit right next to that. But if you look at the video and then look at the target, that whole, it had the shot off here. It hit here. And then it had an arc. That's exaggerated, of course. But there was kind of like a little frown right there. And what it was is that the receiver was in the stock tilted like this when I retorqued it, and I shot that shot. Then it moved, and then I shot another shot. And then it moved again, and then I shot another shot and it moved again, and then I shot another shot and it moved again. And then when I took the screws out, I didn't change anything. I was very careful, and I went ahead and tightened the screws back up and torqued them. And then that moved the impact up about an inch. And then I fired that little group there, and those last two shots were probably about less than an inch, away from each other. So I went ahead and I moved it over, and that's where I fired that 8-shot group, that had that ragged hole there. So that tells me that the stock is breaking in. Okay, it's doing what I want it to do. It's settling down in an area. Okay, once I find that area, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and very carefully take a pencil line and chalk that up on the receiver. So when I go ahead and I glass bed that receiver lug, the barrel lug, it'll go into that one area, and then that's where we're going to get our maximum accuracy right there, is because of the way that the pillars have been worked in. So it's something I've done with other rifles, and I'm telling you what, breaking in your stock is everything in the way of accuracy, because most inaccurate rifles shoot with open groups because of the way that they're bedded. Not necessarily because of the barrel or the action or any of that other stuff. It has a lot to do with the bedding, because what's happening is the receiver is moving around in the stock. I went out to the store and I went ahead and got some 155 grain Palma match bullets. So we're going to try some of those later on when I go ahead and develop those. And I got some 150 grain Spitzers. These are Pro Hunter bullets. They're quite a bit cheaper, But, you know, for the type of shooting that we're going to do at 200 yards with that rifle, you'd be surprised how well these things shoot. I knew guys back in the day when I shot high power that this is all they bought. They didn't buy match bullets. They just went out and got Pro Hunter Sierras. I mean, they didn't, you know, and they shot just fine. Their scores were up there. I mean, you know, it was all about marksmanship. Also got some 180 grain. We'll go ahead and we'll try those. These aren't going to be speed demons. We're going to be in there at about 24, maybe 24, 25, 24, 50 feet per second, somewhere around there. One thing, when you get up to 180 grains, that's when the 308 really starts showing its limitation. I mean, you know, you start cutting back in a lot of speed, you know, that you need for these bullets. These great big 308 bullets, anything up to a 200, 220 grain bullet, you need to really put some punch behind them in order to make them work properly. And that's where the 30-06, the 300 Winchester Magnum, the 300 Holland & Holland Magnum, the 300 Weatherby Magnum, all those, you know, I mean, even the 308 Norma Magnum, all those will, you know, excel with those bullets because that's what those bullets are intended for, unless you're loading for subloads. So, and that's a whole different subject, and which I could probably do with this rifle because it does have a threaded muzzle for a sound suppressor. But that, you know, that's something else that I gotta kind of, you know, come up with. Anyway, I was able to go ahead and pick up some Reloader 15. They had this at the local sportsman shop that we have here locally. And I didn't know this, but this stuff is made in Sweden, you know? So maybe they moved their manufacturing over there, or maybe these guys are under contract, you know, the Swedes over there are under contract to make this. But that's another thing, too. On the firing line back in the day, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, Reloader 15 was one of those powders that not too many guys talked about. And the guys that didn't talk about it were the guys that were using it. And those guys pulled down some amazing scores with these, with the Reloader 15. It's an excellent powder for 30 caliber. This works really good in 223, you know. It's really good stuff. I'm glad I found some. So anyway, we're going to keep on moving on here. I just poured some 4064 in here. I'm using 43.3 grains, and we're gonna get this thing to do its thing. One thing about this powder measure, just sit down here, you know, get your little cup of coffee out, you know, have some coffee, and load your cartridges, you know, get them all charged. I'm really impressed with how accurate this thing is, though. I've checked it on my scale, back and forth. This thing's dead on every time. So there we go. We got 43.3 grains. Make sure I'm not gonna. All right, we got empties. There was a comment one time on one of my viewers about my Little Redding powder funnel. I've had this powder funnel forever. I mean, that's one of my favorites. And also I have a metal one. This is made by Pacific Reloading, which is Hornady. And I like this one too. This one here is no clog. I mean, yep, that one went over. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear that. And throw it back on there, press enter. I'm going to forgo the little shield there, you know, little wind shield. There isn't any real wind going on in here. Come on, there you go, bingo. she'll start up again. I'll tell you what, this little powder measure is kind of it's a conundrum in a way. In other words, I was used to always throw in my charge, put it on my scale, and for real accurate loads, I'd have to dribble them in, and dribbling them in like that, it just that right there is painstaking. I mean, you're constantly, you feel like you're turning a little Dremel, Anyway, this takes all that work out of it. Bingo. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and move it like that. That way I know that's the next one. Yeah, like I said, got my little label all ready to go. So you can stick it on the powder measure when you're using it. And this is what I was talking about right here. You can get these down at like Office Max or Staples, or I don't know, you probably can find them in Walmart. I don't know if Walmart has them or not, but they're not that expensive. I think this whole thing was like $10, and then the film, the little tape that goes in there, $2-3. But they make nice little stickers you can just peel off and put it on the can, and that way you always have that little thing there you can put on your powder measure. All right, we're cruising right along here. Yeah, bedding is everything. Bedding is everything. You have rifles in the past that you went ahead and you sold. I mean, because you were just kind of getting out of it, that sort of thing. Primarily, what I shot in high power was an M1A. But I also had an old. It was a long branch, Mark IV, #1, and I don't know if it was. It had a Canadian mark on it. On the barrel, and the barrel was a Krieger barrel. It was a 26-inch barrel, and bolt action, of course, and it was chambered in .308, and what it was set up for was Palma. I mean, you had to load it one at a time. And I'm going to tell you what, it didn't look like much, man. This thing was ugly. I mean, the stock was all, fiberglassed over, and it's been smoothed out, and, the paint has been kind of worn off and stuff. It had an adjustable butt plate on it, and it had pretty nice sights. It had PNW sights on it, which were very precise. I actually got a real good deal on that rifle. I ended up buying it for $400. I mean, it was all set up and ready to go. The trigger broke right at about a pound. But I dabbled with shooting match rifle for a while, and I used that. And I'll tell you what, that when you are in the zone with a match rifle, even though you have open sights, you have your Doppler front sight, and you got it all zeroed in and everything, and it's got a little spirit level there. And you get back there at about 600 yards, and you're lobbing them in there, and it comes down to X's. You're disappointed that you shot a 10. I mean, that's how accurate you can be with one of those rifles that are properly set up. I'll tell you what, that's one thing about the old .303 Brit, the Mark IV #1s, #2s, they're accurate. They're a good rifle. I mean, I've got one. I've got a Mark II, #4 Mark II, and that rifle I mean, I could shoulder that thing up in service rifle. I could shoot at 200 yards and put them right into the 10. I mean, they're superbly accurate. There's nothing wrong with them. But the problem is with the .303 doesn't seem to last very long. I mean, you get about 3 shots out of them, and then you get case head separation. It's real bright signs of that. And so, I went into neck sizing, just neck sizing the brass, and that sort of thing, and for it. And I haven't shot .303 for quite some time. But anyway. Like like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to load these up with 147 grain IMI bullets. And like I told you guys, I mean, I used to shoot those 147 grains. Don't sneer at them. I mean, they'll shoot. They'll shoot. I mean, they'll shoot just fine. For 200-300 yards, they're fine. They'll shoot great. There's no reason to go out and buy max bullets. Same thing with these, flat base bullets. You'd be surprised. You don't really need a boat tail bullet, to shoot, 200-300 yards. When you get back to 600 yards and then you're pushing back to like 1,000 or 1,200 yards, that's where you're going to get the advantage of having the boat tail. But out to 300 yards, it doesn't matter. I mean, these plain old hunting bullets, they'll shoot just as good as any match round out there. I mean, I had those 175 grain homemade bullets that we bonded the jackets and stuff. And I'm going to tell you what, those things were accurate. I mean, I shot ragged holes all the time with those. I mean, it was just a give me. But I'm not going to go ahead and jump off into the, great beyond and go out and buy a bunch of, Corbin, equipment. That's expensive. And if you do go ahead and you do something like that, you might want to, look into seeing if there's a buddy out there or something that wants to go in, go in halvesies with you, and, learn how to do it. I mean, there's things that you learn along the way that, very, point caution things that you want to do, because you can end up, for the lubricant for the jacket and that sort of thing, you can end up, if you don't remove it properly, it can diesel on you and then it leaves ash in your dye, and then you can ruin your dye that way and scratch it up. There's all kinds of stuff you can do wrong with bonding your own jackets. It's just, it's something that you just got to learn how to do. Something that can actually lead up to a very expensive mistake. She's dribbling in there, guys. Very little bit more. It's amazing this thing is this accurate. I mean, I'm really happy I got this. I'm really happy with the results that I'm getting out of the 700 so far. Even though it's not ready. I mean, I'm still working on it. But hey guys, that's half the fun. Half the fun of this whole thing is, like I said, you got the rifle, which is half of it, okay? And then you have the reload development, which is the other half. So you kind of work on one with the other, and you just kind of make them blend in. You get your bedding down right, the whole 9 yards. So, that sort of thing, it makes it fun. That's what makes it fun. It's not the destination, it's the journey, you see what I'm saying? So, anyway, those are real wise words about just about anything, Bingo. Man, I'll tell you what, I really like this thing, man. I wish they had these things like 20 years ago, man. I could have used one. There we go. Yeah. 4064, guys. Love it, hate it, whatever, but it's been an old favorite for forever. I would say more gold medals have been won on IMR 4895 and IMR 4064 than probably any other powder out there. Also, Reloader 15, that's another one. This is another one that you guys should look at. Yeah, so anyway, I went out and did a little shopping the other day. So there we go, 43.3. What I'm looking for here is just basically a balance, I want to get a balanced load. I can make them even, I can use these actually are going to be a little bit of a compressed powder charge. So when I go to load these, I'm going to want to make sure and do the flashlight thing, and make sure every one of these got powder in them. Because if you load one and you shake it and it say like it's all the way up to the top there, you won't hear anything. And the only way that you can get around that is by actually, you know, weighing them. Weighing them. Take a loaded one that you know that's loaded, put it on the scale, and then go ahead and weigh that one, and then weigh the one that you're kind of questionable about. That's not really a good way to do it. That's what they make bullet pullers for, guys. I just kind of caution on that side of the whole thing. Yeah. But then I'll tell you what, I've been using 4064 for years. Like I said, it's a favorite. Primers. That's one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit in the way of reloading. I have yet to see anything that has an advantage over Winchester primers. Winchester primers seem to kind of, they form fit better in your brass. I've used CCIs. I've used Federal. I've used them all. And for my general overall purpose, gonna go ahead and get some primers. I'll just look and see if they got Winchesters. And another thing too, Winchesters come on sale, and you can just get them for real reasonable price. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of product review on something that I went ahead and picked up, and down there at the Sportsman shop, and I'm gonna get that going here pretty soon. But anyway, that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, get a different load going, with the IMR 4064. Gonna load the 147 grains back up. I'm gonna tell you what, guys, those 147 grain bullets, if you shoot like CMP matches, or you go out and you're just plugging along there and shooting high power, service rifle, and you're shooting a 30 caliber rifle, there's nothing wrong with those. They shoot perfect. I mean, if I had to in a pinch, I'd shoot them at 600 yards. I mean, I wouldn't figure I was really sacrificing that much. It's a 150 grain bullet. I mean, So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. So this is Thorax. Want to wish you guys a real good morning this morning, and the next time that you see me, I'll probably be going out to the range with you guys again. We'll take the Remington out there and we'll shoot it some more. So until that time, this is Thorax, and I'm signing out. Okay, so here we are again, guys. We're out here at the bench, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna seat some 147 grain bullets. I'll be right back. Hold on a second. I'm back. Left them on the table in the other room. I was doing a little bit of sorting with my bullet comparator. So anyway, here we go. Yeah. Like I said, this is just basically going to be our break-in ammunition. This isn't going to be anything that's really spectacular. One thing I wanted to kind of go ahead and just kind of emphasize on the whole thing, though, is that these 147 grain bullets, they're manufactured by IMI. They did a really good job. I gotta admit, these are really good quality. So there you go. we're going to try this 4064 loading. See how this works. Yeah. Cannon fodder. Those full metal jacket bullets are inaccurate. They're made for machine guns. Well, I'll tell you what, these bullets don't know that. I'll tell you what, and they shoot pretty doggone good. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to spare you guys the boring thing about standing here watching me do this and then, you know, have all my commentary kind of spilling over into it. And, you know, I really don't have that much to talk about this morning. I've been off all week, you know. Pretty much, you know, took that time off right after Labor Day and decided to turn it into Labor Week. You know, take a little time off work, you know. Get away from that place for a while, you know. That can kind of wear down on you. I mean, if you're working all the time and you come home and you know, you gotta do all the domestic duties that you gotta do in order to live, and you know, you're taking care of the house and mowing the lawn and washing the car and, you know, the whole 9 yards. It's kind of nice to have a week. You know, it's kind of nice to have a week where you can just be off from work. You don't have to worry about going to work or anything like that. So that makes it kind of nice. Yeah, but you get to where you're missing the people, you know, you're missing the situations and the people, you know. I've been employed for the same employer for 35 years, so I'm getting ready to retire here pretty soon, and that's why I'm kind of gearing up on all this, you know. Watched a video the other day, in fact yesterday, one of the viewers went ahead and, you know, he's got his own channel, and I'll tell you what, that boy has got an awful lot of wheel weights, and he's going to be melting stuff down for a while. And you know, that's great if you have a resource like that. You know, you can go around to the tire stores and you can get that sort of thing, but not up here anymore. I mean, our state is all involved with this whole thing with recycling, and you know, they help funding, you know, they have funding set aside, you know, state funding for recycling centers, and they want to promote some recycling. And, you know, outfits like Costco and Walmart and places like that, they sell tires. They don't give you nothing. They won't sell you the wheel weights. They won't do anything like that for you. So, you know, you're kind of stuck to little mom and pop tire stores. You know, they're downtown, and you know, they might have a bucket, they might not have a bucket. You know, that's just the way it is. And then I'm not the only one that's looking for lead. You know, so you know, it's kind of like a dog eat dog sort of thing when it comes to the wheel weights around here. What I'm actually thinking about doing is going in with a friend of mine and buying a ton of bullet material from Rotometals, and then have that shipped, because it's free shipping. Have that shipped. It's about $1,500. Now that's you know, that's quite a chunk of change. But the thing is, though, is see, I'll have that material on hand, and I won't have to worry about going out and looking for it, you know, or digging it out of the embankment out there at the club. Which is not a big deal. I mean, you know, range recovery lead, it works just as good as anything else. But at least that way, you know, I'll have some material here in the garage. I've probably got about 1,200 pounds. I've got about 1,200 pounds that is sitting in ingots right now. And, you know, so that should tide me over. But you never know about this lead thing, you know. So what I want to do is I want to have a pallet of lead sitting off to the side, so I'll have enough, you know, lead to pretty much last me the rest of my life. And I don't plan on giving up casting anytime soon. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and then I'm going to go ahead and crimp them in place. Like I said on my review, tell you what, these Lee, call it, factory crimp dies. They're well worth the money. I mean, these work really good. They're just, I mean, they really had it on the ball when they had these. Also, I like the Lee lock rings, because the lock rings are held in there by an O-ring, and you know they're just finger adjustable. You don't have that little set screw in the side. You know, sometimes you'll tighten up that set screw, and you know you'll back it off to go ahead and change your adjustment, like on RCBS dies or even the Redding dies for that matter, and the stupid thing will get stuck and it won't move. And so you gotta get a rag out and everything, and then he-band that thing to break it loose. With these right here, you don't have to do that. Hornady also makes locking rings that it doesn't actually have a set screw that touches the die. It actually clamps the two together. I like the Hornady one as well. But anyway, so I'm going to get back to this and get this all done. And I think the next video I'm going to come out with is either going to be on a product review or we're going to be at the range. So we'll go to the range again. And I was thinking about doing that maybe later on today. So this is Thorzax, and good shooting to you guys. 43.3 grains of IMR 4064 with 147 grain full metal jacket IMI. I don't know what the Israelis are doing over there, but man, I'll tell you what, they're sure doing something right. These are excellent bullets. So until my next video, I'm signing out.